Released surveillance video shows 1 October gunman Stephen Paddock in the days and hours leading up to the mass shooting.
MGM Resort says Paddock's actions show nothing out of the ordinary, but Contact 13 Chief Investigator Darcy Spears spoke with a body language expert who says there were indications that something was off.
A telltale facial expression and anxious elevator behavior both jumped out as signs to body language expert Dr. Jack Brown that something was not right with Stephen Paddock.
There's not any one thing that says this guy's a killer or whoops, this is an absolute call to police right now kind of behavior. But there are definitely anxiety tells in abnormal behavior to the point where, it depends on your screening level.
Meaning how much attention was being paid by those watching Paddock's movements at Mandalay Bay, if anyone was watching the high roller as he came and went over days, gambling all night long and carting in load after load of luggage.
He seemed like he really went out of his way to make it look casual, take up the luggage, not all at once in multiple trips. He really planned it out.
So calculated, Brown says it was spooky, and a spooky demeanor is part of what he sees here in Paddock's face.
So that center forehead going up, a little bit of a mouth smile, that's a person with low empathy and low sincerity, and that's also got a very high correlation with sociopathic behavior.
It's an expression we all make once in a while, but Brown says those who do it a lot raise red flags. He blogs about the expression on the faces of convicted serial killers and foreign leaders like Russian President Vladimir Putin. Dr. Brown also noticed Paddock's elevator behavior.
He's got his legs crossed and he's his center of gravity is way off.
Which he says might not seem abnormal at that moment, but in hindsight shows significant anxiety. In this video clip,
he's got his hands in his pockets and he's doing this. That's significant for anxiety.
And while the behavior itself isn't necessarily incriminating, Brown says it's all about the context.
And that's particularly the elevator thing was extremely out of context.
Once inside the elevator, he notes how multiple times Paddock backs into the corner, even though he's alone.
And the corner he chose was a corner with a camera, such that the camera showed the top of his head and not his face. Even if there wasn't a camera, that's odd behavior to go in the corner of an elevator. That might be something, if I was screening for potential nefarious behavior, that I would look for.
MGM says they could not reasonably foresee that a longtime guest with no known history of threats or violence and behaving in a manner that appeared outwardly normal would carry out such an inexplicably evil, violent, and deadly act.